Hi, I'm Jacqueline Betterton. Get to know Joshua Campbell, the knowledge broker, right here, right now. So you know a lot about this business. That's why you've coined the term knowledge broker, right? And for you, it's all about educating people and teaching them what you know. But there must be sometimes a little bit of miscommunication there because you know so much, and then the buyer or seller also feels that they know a lot about the business. You know what I mean?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's
Probably-
we can rephrase that a little bit more where often the buyer and seller think that we know nothing and they know everything.
Well,
And then
yeah.
ultimately I try to educate. You're right. Sometimes we do get clients that do think they know everything and they like to do real estate themselves, which I'm okay with.
Yeah.
If people want to try and sell their own house, I mean, I'm one of these people that if I can do it myself, I will. If I can change my own tires, I will. If I can, if I have time to re-roof my house, I will. You only do it once, and then
Sure.
you learn that it's a lot easier to hire the professional because
Yeah.
you save time. But in the end of the day, you're right. I mean, I try to give as much knowledge as possible. There is that gap of who has more information. And I feel like that's what I've been doing lately is I feel that it's more important to just give out free information. Provide knowledge to people because realistically, if it's kind of a rising of the tide, if more people are educated when it comes to making their decisions, they're not coming to me and I don't have to necessarily start dry. So
Sure.
to give you an example, I met with a first-time home buyer couple on Sunday and we sat for 2 hours and I was going over the basics of basics of basics of basics. They wanted to know what is a deposit check? How does that work? How much is a deposit check and why is it that? Where does the money go? When do I need the money? What do I sign? What do we do? Where do we start? And I was like, I like first-time home buyers because I mean I get to go through and practice and do things that I don't do with every client.
Go back to the very basics.
100%. And I mean when it comes to looking at the agreements and they want to know every clause to the way they understand everything, and a lot of the times when people are experienced, they don't need it as much. But with first-time home buyers, I mean, me giving all that free information, hopefully it fills that gap so that when they come to meet me, they've probably hopefully had a lot of their questions answered before we actually sit down. So I mean, it helps me, it helps them. Hopefully it builds that gap of trust where they know that I'm giving them free information without any obligation, and maybe that ultimately will increase my business because I want to help more people. But ultimately, it is fun providing information. Like it's cool to give people knowledge that they don't know. It's kind of like when we just had a little girl.
Yes.
And,
She's adorable.
Yeah, like last night she literally started doing these. I recognize communication's working, so she does these little sounds, which I started, and now my dad and everybody's picking up, and they're all trying to pretend like it's theirs probably, but it's mine. And
who can make her laugh?
Yeah,
the
but I've
most?
got her. She does it with me now. And last night she sat there and Christy comes up the stairs and I go, I got her. And she goes, what do you mean? I go, she did it back to me. And she goes, no way. And I go 10 times in a row. And then all of a sudden Christy sits down and we get her from being fussy. And I go, and then she goes, but that communication gap is just like when you work with clients, you know, I'm teaching them something that they've never done. You communicate with them and they kind of understand it. So I mean, it makes them more comfortable. It's a whole. It just makes it more fun because otherwise we're just in business to sell products, and that's not why I got into it.
I've never heard you make that sound. Actually, so that was fun. Thank you for
Trust
that.
me, I do that all the time at home now.
Now everyone.
I do it to the dog. I do it to everybody.
Well, you know what? It's interesting because we started talking about real estate, which is one of your passions. And then we moved in instantly to your family, another passion, I'm sure, your wife and your new baby.
For sure.
And those two must be very much connected in your goals, your dreams. You know, it's a piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yeah, I find it's a family business now.
Yeah.
Christy's an amazing wife, and she puts her 10 cents in, not her 2 cents, not her 1 cent. And Alexis, who's behind the camera, she ultimately knows this because she'll come downstairs and Chris will be like, you really should like put a customer in place and like make a fake customer and treat them the same way that you would treat every customer and make sure that they're all getting the same standard of service. And I'm like, damn it, you're right.
You're right.
Yeah.
Like, once again,
Yeah.
the wife is always right.
So yeah, fair enough. So and so since then, with regards to the first question you said with family, being a family business is one thing that kind of helps you perfect, because I mean it gives you lots of different angles. Considering babies, and our house is growing in size, and
Right.
and then families growing, you start to see that and relate with other people. But it also gives you a lot more drive. I mean, I mean,
Sure.
you're working for something.
Yeah.
I'm working for an education to pay. I'm working for vacations to pay. I'm working for kids' toys to pay.
Yeah.
You're buying everything for
expensive.
family, but at the same time, it also gives you opportunity to have inspiration, right? You want to inspire to be a good role model to your kids.